Good Sunday morning to you all. Hopefully you guys are doing great. Hopefully I got that audio problem figured out. We got a bunch of Watchmen updates and news items that are crossing our desk today. We got the military losing grocery benefits as they remain without pay. Meanwhile, people from other places in the U.S. will continue to get their SNAP benefits, most of them at least. The Senate will now be forced to stay until they reopen the government. And Iran tries to take out an Israeli ambassador. We got a tsunami, UPS and FedEx grounding about 10% of their fleet. Big deal, and I'm finally married. All right, friends, let's get into it. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade, and these are your updates. If you have something to share, make sure you use that word, update, somewhere in your comment. That does get it to the right place. We do want to thank our sponsors, Genesis Gold Group. They've been with this channel since almost the very beginning. They believe in what we do. They believe in being prepared. And one of the biggest ways you can be prepared is making sure that your investments and particularly your retirement portfolio is protected. If you want to find out how you can put precious metals into your retirement portfolio, there'll be a link at the end of the video, or you can reach out to them directly. But make sure you mention this channel if you go to Genesis Gold Group. All right, military officials have warned troops across 168 bases that 168 commissaries are going to close next month. These commissaries provide, in a lot of cases, provide troops with access to groceries when there may not be access to groceries, or provides access to groceries on base, or gives discounted rates to soldiers, and that makes it more affordable to soldiers who are risking their lives for us every day. Meanwhile, SNAP benefits have been ordered to remain open. This is a major shift there. Supreme Court has overruled a lower court ruling demanding that President Trump by Friday immediately issue all 100% of the SNAP benefits to states. The problem with that, of course, being that there's no money. There's no money allocated by Congress, and how can a judge allocate what Congress hasn't allocated? Anyway, not fair to U.S. military personnel. But that's what's happening out there. Japan just issued a tsunami warning just a couple hours ago following a 6.7 magnitude earthquake. There, of course, they had that massive tsunami a few years ago that destroyed the Fukushima, the Daiichi nuclear power plant, right? Anyway, we got that happening out there. We're still waiting to see the fallout from that. And Senate Majority Leader John Thune has ordered the U.S. Senate to remain in session until a government funding deal is struck. So until they reopen the government, the Senate must remain in session. If they don't show up on the Senate floor, votes can be taken without them. So they're forced to stay in town, and they're forced to remain near the Senate floor, of course. This is the 39th day of the government shutdown, and it's about time that the senators be held to account. They're the only ones who are not passing a clean continuing resolution, let alone making a deal. That's just truly embarrassing for the United States. The longest government shutdown in the U.S. history, right? American delivery firms, UPS and FedEx, have both temporarily grounded part of their fleets of cargo planes. The MD-11F, after a mid-takeoff crash in Kentucky on Tuesday, that at least 14 people didn't survive. These are 34-year-old planes, and we're looking at about 10% of both FedEx's as well as UPS's air fleet are grounded at this point. what they're doing with 34-year-old planes. Now that's the newest they could possibly be. And there's a whole bunch that are a lot older than that. They're flying ancient planes around. And lo and behold, there's an accident, right? Is it an accident if it's negligence? That's a question for some lawyers to answer out there. Israel thanked Mexican security and law enforcement services on Friday for thwarting what they said was an Iranian-backed plot to attack the U.S. ambassador there. The United States did come out on Friday and accused Iran of plotting to take out Israel's ambassador to Mexico. So not just Israel, but the United States also backing that up. With the U.S. official saying the Revolutionary Guard's elite Quds unit initiated the plot in late 2024 and that it was disrupted this year. Iran, on the other hand, is having issues of its own, other than failing to take out ambassadors in Mexico for whatever reason they're doing that. Anyway, they've been forced to cut water rationing to Tehran, their capital. So no water in Tehran, but yet they still find time to meddle in trying to take out people halfway around the world. They're doing this because they have a massive drought, one of the worst droughts in decades across Iran. Iran is already very unstable because there's a lot of people inside Iran that are very unhappy with the Iranian government. Last time the people tried to rise up in Iran, Obama looked the other way and allowed the Iranian government to crush all the protests nationwide with brutal crackdowns. And President Obama did absolutely nothing, said absolutely nothing, and just waited until the carnage was over. We know it was going to be a long time before the people had the courage to stand up again. More info on the Turkish court issuing an arrest warrant for Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu over the Gaza alleged genocide. Apparently, it's not just Benjamin Netanyahu, as I reported yesterday, but also senior officials of the Israeli government. So 37 people have been charged by the Turkish court as guilty or at least under suspicion of genociding. Is that a verb, genociding? Well, apparently it is now. Amongst them are Israeli Defense Minister Israel Katz, the National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir, and the Army Chief Lieutenant General Ayol Zamir. And they said all this in a statement from the Istanbul prosecutor's office, which did not publish the complete list, though, so we don't know who the other people who are supposed to be arrested. So hopefully the police forces in Turkey know who are supposed to be arrested, because we, as the general public of the world, aren't allowed to know that information, which is just ridiculous. Anyway, not like those people will ever go to Turkey, so they're not going to get arrested. The Supreme Court of the United States did pause the order to do full SNAP benefit payments, and President Trump has been greenlit to continue on with the partial payments using actual funds that the government has and has authorized by Congress. This isn't President Trump's job to make up what he thinks that Congress wants to do, but hasn't actually passed a budget to do. And yet we have some judges across the United States that think that they can see into the minds of the legislators and legislate for them. So the judges are not just meddling in the executive branch, but now they're meddling in the legislative branch too. Absolutely crazy. These judges are setting up a point where we're going to see The federal government, the executive branch, probably just look at the judges and say, nope, not going to do it anymore. That's stupid. You know, if you want that to happen, you make it happen, because the executive branch is not going to enforce your insane decrees. Cape Fear says, a few days ago we purchased 2 pounds of Argentine shrimp from Costco. Pretty good deal, maybe. Thawed it in the bag. More water than usual came out, then cooked with olive oil and butter, even more water came out. I would guess on the low side, at least a cup of water in 2 pounds of Argentine shrimp. Not thrilled with paying for excess water as opposed to shrimp. A lot of you guys seeing that not only with beef, seeing that with ground beef, seeing that with chicken. All these things are being plumped up for juiciness, as we're being told, but that's not really the truth. The truth is that water is very heavy and very cheap, okay? If there was something heavier and cheaper, they would be injecting that into our food, no doubt. Kenneth says, I went to Walmart in Memphis. A can of Ocean Spray cranberry sauce was $2. The display was by the door. The next day, I had to get a loaf of bread, and the same display was now $2.47. Prices changing as fast as you can blink your eyes, friends. If you see a good deal, you better grab it. Old as Dirt says, I just got back from Aldi. I was shocked by the canned section. Only 5 choices in vegetables. Peas, green beans, corn, sliced potatoes, and vegetable mix. Now, are the potatoes really vegetables? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments down below, because that's an argument there, right? So nothing else, no carrots, no whole potatoes, no spinach, no cream of anything, just those 5 choices in a 4-foot section. The canned soup was even worse, tomato, mushroom, and chicken noodle, and creamy chicken noodle. That's the only choices for soups. For $2.98, there was the no water added cans, beef noodle, and chicken and clam, which are a lot more. Eggs were $1.97, but only 9 cartons left of eggs, so a lot less eggs than it should be. The cereal aisle was expanded and the length of the all the way the length of the store. Practically no specials aisle like shirts, pots, and seasonal items. It was all in 1/4 the space it normally is. Cracker aisle was a 4-foot section, but only on 2 shelves. No salmon, and frozen salmon, 16 ounce, was $15.25. All the shelves were spotty. A lot of it was not restocked. I was able to see into the back room, and it was completely empty. They get their truck every Wednesday. There was not much in the fresh produce, and what they had was highly priced. Jeff says, Utah, I have seen food pantry theft for the past 2 years. People steal from the drop-off box in the lobby of church instead of going to the pantry office and asking. They just go in there and just take what they think that they deserve or what they want, as opposed to actually waiting in line or actually receiving with gratitude what's given to them. Trump One Ping Only says, Central Florida, Winn-Dixie grocery store, looking real low on a lot of everything. They got housewares and weird stuff in different aisles. All the shelves are faced. Everything is being pulled forward. Hans says, local Walmart here in Northeast Pennsylvania does not stock Keystone ground beef anymore, or Keystone beef. Had everything else in stock. Not sure if something is going on with Keystone beef. Noticed in the past many Keystone cans were dented and bulging. A lot of us have seen that for years. Had to inspect every can carefully, but has something changed with Keystone. I haven't heard anything new out there. Are you guys still seeing Keystone meats at your stores? Let us know. We'll do a little quick run through to see if everyone's still seeing Keystone meats at their stores, or if it's more widespread. His kid says, in regards to the gallon water bottles leaking, so the gallon jugs They do leak water if you're using them for water storage. I always put mine into gallon-sized Ziploc bags before storing. Now, obviously, that you can't close it up, but it will keep the water from ruining the floor and other items if or when it leaks. I live in the desert and have about 50 of these stored inside closets and other places inside my house. I check them every now and then and have been thankful for bagging the bottles on occasion. So yeah, if you're going to use water storage, which you really should seriously consider doing, make sure you're using some sort of container that really won't break, that won't bust, won't leak, won't, because it can just, I mean, it's water, but it still makes quite a mess, especially if it's with other preps, right? Karen says, be careful about buying on Facebook Marketplace. My husband drove 3 hours one way to buy 8-gauge wire. So it's hard to get that stuff, right? And when he got there, the wire read 10-gauge. 6 hours round trip for nothing. Lesson learned. Next time I will have them send pictures of what is printed on the wire. The woman sent a video apology to my Facebook Messenger saying she posted 8-gauge because that was what her husband had told her. This is the second time this month my husband has been told the wrong listing information, and each time he drove a long way. Some things are hard to find at stores, so that's why we use Facebook Marketplace and other sites. Well, yeah, I mean, if you want to deal person to person and buy used stuff, oftentimes you can get generators, you can get other preps and such that that would cost a lot more if you were to buy them new. It's a great way to get stuff, but verify your information, double check everything, because it's not always what it seems. All right, NT says, look for a small salvage type store in your area. They probably will have a lot of different types of things. There's 2 that I know of in my area in Indiana. One gets the overages of produce and some candy and some prepackaged food. Know the prices on the grocery store items so you know if you're getting good price or not, because they're not always a good price, right? If you've ever been to Aldi's, you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? Some of the prices there are like, this is the same price as a grocery store, and yet it's old, right? This is always my starting point for my grocery shopping, as I usually walk out with several food items, such as 6-ounce blueberries, blackberries, or raspberries at 50 cents a container at times. Occasionally, $1.49 for 3 pounds of apples. I think doing some shopping at this type of store is safer because a lot of people don't realize that they have groceries. So check to see if you have any overstock or salvage type stores. The other salvage type store has household goods, toiletries, clothes, etc. It's more hit and miss, but it's worth checking if one needs something, and if it's in an area that I'm at least a couple of times a month. And Leslie says, I was helping a friend out. This is an important warning out there. I was helping a friend out, and she asked me to dispose of a carton of jumbo eggs. So I said I would take them home for my chickens. When I got them home, I was removing them from the carton. I noticed the eggs did not seem like jumbo eggs. I got out my scale and found out 6 of the 8 eggs remaining in the carton were barely extra large in weight. The other 2 were almost jumbo. There is no way the 6 eggs lost that much weight in storage, and by size I can tell that they were not jumbo. Be aware that commercial egg farms, now we've been hearing a lot of reports of this over the years, eggs just are not the same size that they used to be when it comes to these standards. A carton of jumbo eggs should weigh about 2 pounds minimum, including the carton. You can always use the scales in the produce section to weigh them if you want to check. Very large eggs should weigh 1 pound, 13 ounces, and large eggs should weigh 1 pound, 10 ounces. Hopefully that is helpful to you guys. Thanks so much for being a part of the Watchmen community. If you want to get some more information about Genesis Gold, there's a link right there. No commitment to move forward with them, but if you want to ask some questions, There's a link right there. If you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up there. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you guys later. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report out.